What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Good Encore. I'm Joe Sanriego, joining with Ben Schneider, traveling on the West Coast, and alongside Brenden Queen. Thank you, everyone. Brenden, how are you doing today?
Doing good, Joe. It is another Motor Monday, and yes, I'm glad Ben is able to get a week off here, and glad to have our fearless leader, as we lovingly call you, here on the show today.
It's always fun to be on the show. We always appreciate the opportunity, and definitely encouraging everyone to comment in the chat room. We enjoy seeing everyone's thoughts and opinions, especially when we get to the hot topics. Big thank you to our Patreon investors, calling the show, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew, for investing in the Grid Network each and every month. Link in the video description to invest through Patreon. You can also do one time, buy me a coffee, YouTube Super Chat. We'll thank you on the air. And of course, gridnetworktv.com, Matthew Bros. Weekend recap of the Cup Series at Dover Motor Speedway, the Monster Mile, plus all our articles, plus team bios as well. Brent, let's go ahead and get started. Xfinity Series. They were at the Monster Mile, part of thrilling weekend lineup. You had ARCA, the ARCA East Series, then the Xfinity Series, Cup Series. I sort of wish the Truck Series were still racing there. A lot of good memories from the times there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Oh yeah, no, I mean, the Truck Series not there, but once again, we had another weekend that was sort of plagued by the elements, and it seems that the weather knows where NASCAR is for the weekend, and it knows to have some percentage in the Saturday and Sunday.
It does. It seems like if you're a city and you need wet weather, fight NASCAR.
Bring them on in.
Bring them on in. They do street races now, so you can even just close the street. Here comes the weather. They'll take care of it for you. For Connor Zilisch, he took care of the field because of the weather. He continued his dominations since the Talladega injury, picking up with his fourth win of the season in the rain-shortened Dover race. Again, inclement weather just wiped out practice qualifying for the Cup Series. Xfinity Series called after 134 laps, and this is the first Xfinity race to be rain-shortened since Chicago 2023. And we all remember that race. That was before even the halfway point, Brenden.
Yeah, that was the first Chicago weekend, and that went to Cole Custer after leading. Maybe we probably got like four to six laps before the rain started coming down, and that was a flood, man. That was an impressive Saturday, and it didn't get much better on Sunday. But we got the Shane Van Gisbergen phenomenon showing up onto the scene for the first time in the States. But yeah. It's been a while since the Xfinity Series has had to deal with that, so I guess that we'll look at it positively. That's actually a good thing.
Yeah, considering that it seems so often the Cup Series has these issues, but since 2023, the Xfinity Series with their TV deal with CW seems to be a renewed interest, growing interest with that TV deal. I think it's good to see that this is the first time. Hopefully, a lot less occasions. For John Binder, he was at the track Saturday at the race. Jonathan, thank you for tuning in, and share your feedback through the show as we talk about the Xfinity Series. Got to ask you the first question, Brenden. When it comes to Connor Zilisch, how impressed were you? Because he was injured, and sometimes when a driver gets injured, it seems like they're down and out. They come back, and not the same, but he's been on another level, Connor Zilisch.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about this injury from Talladega, but you're right, exactly right. Ever since he's come back from that, he's been on a full head of steam, and has been, as I go back here through the results there since Talladega, he's been on a pretty good run here, and taking, taking Pocono since then, and then had the back-to-back with Sonoma and Dover with the rain-shortened weekend here. I had to jog my memory there for a moment, but yeah, Pocono was kind of when it made a turnaround. But even in those other events, he was able to stay up in the top 10, and also his car was able to get a victory even without him in the suit with Kyle Larson at Texas as well. So not only Connor Zilisch, but Junior Motorsports has not been resting since that accident at Talladega back in April.
Yeah, that team has not been resting much at all. They just seem to really hit the ground, trying to get win after win after win, accumulate all those points, especially as we get towards the Xfinity Series playoff. And really, I mean, Talladega, that was like the difference because even you look at Daytona Atlanta outside the top 25. You got to win a Coda. That's a bright spot. But it just seems that inconsistency where here, my goodness, everything all top five, everything going his way. Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that's going to be a huge. Do you think if he was to get this win at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, that's going to sort of cement that he's a real deal, that he could win just about anywhere?
Oh, absolutely. And I think he's already sort of set up. Ben and I are kind of looking at his chances at the 99 with Trackhouse Racing. That seems to be all set to go. All we need is the picture and the signature. But we're sort of waiting for that news. But we could very well be wrong. But that seems to be where signs are pointing. But yeah, if he was able to win the Xfinity race at the Brickyard, it would absolutely elevate him to yet another level. And he's already a very impressive talent. And we've been talking about him on this show, Joe, as well for the past couple of years, just how excellent he is in his road course program, and also being in victory lane in the Rolex 24 as well. And I think that was the LMP2 category. But he has a lot of experience behind the wheel in all sorts of different types of race cars. But he has been really on fire here in 2025. He's coming to Cup next year with Corey Heim, and it's just a matter of where are they going to be, I believe.
Where they're going to be at, that's going to be the big key. In the chat room, John Bender, I'm impressed. I have Zilisch winning the championship. When I look at the rest of the schedule, we got Indianapolis, potentially could win there. Iowa, Watkins Glen, he's won at Watkins Glen last year, that memorable win. Daytona, wild card, but can't count him out. Portland International Raceway, of course, we're going to be there. I think he has to be a favorite. Gateway, Bristol, Kansas, the Roval, Las Vegas, Talladega again. Then, of course, Martinsville, Phoenix. There's not a track where I feel like he's not a contender, and it has to be scary here the competition.
Yeah, it's kind of like Shane Van Gisbergen, but he can also win at ovals too. So, and it's dangerous because they're potentially on the same team next year. So, I mean, sometimes it feels like they're on the same team now with the way Junior Motorsports interacts with Trackhouse Racing, but that's a different story. But yeah, the potential is lethal at Trackhouse Racing. They have the potential of having an absolute super group.
Super group where you got Connor Zilisch could win almost anywhere. Ross Chastain, if that team could get everything going, they're hard to beat. And then you cover the road course with Shane Van Gisbergen, who is improving on those ovals. That is going to be a stout team for next year, even though he is a rookie. My goodness, I think that is just going to elevate the confidence in everybody in that Trackhouse organization that they're the real deal. You got Connor Zilisch. He's putting stats. I mean, to win your first Xfinity Series race at Watkins Glen last year, that was a big moment. We're like, we got to watch him. Looking forward to see what he does when he gets to the Cup Series. Could be a little bit of a rookie slump at the start, but I think once he gets to those road courses, count him in, and then the second time around, one to watch.
And he's so young too. It's crazy. He kind of reminds you of Joey Logano, and we said sliced bread a couple of times, probably in 2022 and 23. He's starting to live up to it here. He's getting into kind of fitting into those shoes a little bit more, and it's impressive to see.
Very impressive. I still remember Joey Logano in the Xfinity Series. Of course, then was the Busch Nationwide. Then he comes to the Cup Series. Just didn't have that right fit going on with the 20 team after Tony Stewart left. Got that home, though, with Penske. I don't feel like Connor Zilisch is being rushed at all. I feel like at this progress, it just seems to make sense putting him in the Cup for next year. And considering he has starts already, the Dakota race wasn't exactly the best of starts, but I mean, you look at what he done in it was Charlotte, 23rd, I believe. Atlanta almost got a top 10 there. Not bad of a start, so potentially he's one to watch next year. And
Yeah, sorry.
go ahead.
Are we talking about Taylor Gray?
Oh, I was going to say go ahead with your comment. I was just about to also pull up a
Oh,
comment
I'm
too.
sorry. No, I was done.
Not a problem. In the chat room, John Bender once again. Indianapolis should be a good race because Larson is in the 17 car. We saw that race last year was really entertaining. The finish we had in the Xfinity Series, the drafting, the side battle, the slipping and sliding. You now have Kyle Larson in the 17. We're going to have Connor Zilisch. Do you see a potential favorite between those two?
I really, we don't really see we haven't seen much sample size lately of how drivers are out on the Indianapolis Oval per se. So I really can't say here lately. I know I have a memory of how Larson has been in the past at the Brickyard, but putting Zilisch and Larson head to head in the Xfinity Series cars, um, I think Larson's going to have a big advantage just because of being being from the Cup Series and coming down like we talk about a lot here on Encore, but and Zilisch kind of being his first time there on the oval proper. So we'll have to see. I think Larson has the advantage there, having that winning experience at Indianapolis will pay dividends.
It's going to be something else. The experience Larson has, Connor Zilisch, getting the hang of the Xfinity Series car. I think it's going to be a toss up between those two. One that will be fun to watch. This is going to be a fun weekend. I'm so excited and happy they're back at the Speedway at Indianapolis. Now, of course, taking a look at the results again from the Xfinity Series race. One of the big names, of course, that people were talking about was Taylor Gray, pole position and stage one win. Overall, when it comes to the race, Taylor Gray coming in the top 10 over there in seventh place. Was this a sign of his potential that you see that he got that first win is coming right around the corner?
I think possibly for Taylor Gray, I think it's been it's his rookie season here with Xfinity, but it's definitely been really strong as far as rookie campaigns go. And I particularly remember him doing pretty well at Darlington. And of course, I don't quite remember if we don't go there twice with Xfinity, so he won't get a chance to do that again. So yeah, we don't go there a second time with the Xfinity Series, unfortunately. But yeah, I feel like that win is coming around the corner for Taylor Gray, and Indianapolis does have a strange way of giving us different types of winners. It's kind of like going to Darlington or Pocono or somewhere like that, where it takes sort of a different skill set that we don't see from a week to week basis. And so that might be an advantage for Taylor Gray. I don't know what his fuel mileage or fuel strategy prowess is like, or with its crew chief and how they work together on those sorts of things. But that might be the winning ticket there for a place like Indy. So we'll have to see. But he definitely is on the upward swing, and it's been a great rookie season so far for Taylor Gray.
Yeah, Taylor Gray having a pretty good rookie season. I mean, one of the things I'm thinking about with Indianapolis Motor Speedway, I recall last year he didn't do the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, but he did Pocono last year, got a top 5 finish. Pocono, of course, flat track, especially the tunnel turn and that final corner. Again, he had a good finish there. I believe it was another top 10 finish at Pocono. You bring up a good point. I do see him being a potential one of the favorites for the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in the Xfinity Series. And overall, his rookie season, I mean, it has been pretty solid overall good as we're getting down to the races and seeing what everyone could do now that we're in that summer stretch, which is, in my opinion, one of the harder periods for the teams, especially as we're going week to week to week.
Yeah, especially Xfinity Series too. You think about the way they have to manage their personnel and everything like that. It definitely takes a strain on them. I would say even more so than the Cup side.
Yeah, the Cup side is, of course, a lot of resources and everything. Xfinity Series, much smaller budget teams. Some teams where they have very few full-time employees. Of course, the teams that have those alliances with Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, they're going to be the top. But the small teams, especially if they can make great results occur, that's always going to be something fun to watch. Trying to be the giant killers of the field. And in the
You've seen it firsthand, Joe. The Xfinity standalone weekend at Portland, like that kind of environment where it's just them having to go on the other side of the country, basically.
a brutal long trip across the country. I mean, especially when you're trying to get here to Portland, you're going along Idaho, Montana, that northern route. There's no nice diagonal interstate, unfortunately, unless you go the southern border and I-5 north. So it's a challenge. And the one thing I do always, it makes me smile, is just seeing the crowd levels here at Portland for the Xfinity Series race. Sellout crowd, good crowd size, the enthusiasm, the lines for the driver's autograph. My goodness. I mean, so many fans don't make it through just because they run out of time, but it's a fun atmosphere, and just seeing how much smaller the teams are really shows this is a good proving ground for everyone before the Cup Series. John Binder, once again, I think the Rookie of the Year is going to come down to Zilisch versus Gray.
And Zilisch will win. But yes.
Yeah, I think Zilisch got it pretty much wrapped up. I mean,
here's first and here's second for Rookie of the Year. It's like a steep climb.
It is. I mean, especially with this win you're in system that, I mean, it's pretty safe to say Shane SVG over in the Cup Series got the Rookie of the Year over Riley Herbst here with all the wins he's getting. I mean, for Gray, unless he could start pulling off win after win after win, that'll be a phenomenal. I can't think of any time in the Xfinity Series history where we've had like two rookies just dominate a season before.
Well, I wish I had been here to search the data banks, because I can't really pull it quickly like he can there. But I mean, I'm thinking of like the two rookies. Yeah, that.
Yeah, because even as far back as I can remember, to I would say the 1994 season, you will see an occasional rookie get a win, but to have two go on such a level, such a chair in the Xfinity Series, oh man, I just don't see that or recall that happening before. So, but yeah, I think it's what Bell has the record for the most wins, 7, correct, in the Xfinity Series.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, that was a huge season for him. And it took him a while to get good in Cup, but he finally got around to it, and now look at him this year, those 3 wins in a row. But it took him a while. But yeah, it just shows you the talent level, how much it's ramped up, Joe, over the years. Just that we could have 2 rookies that are just competing for each other for Rookie of the Year honors, and one of them is one of the best drivers in the series.
It is, and yep, I found confirmation. 2018, winningest rookie in series history, Christopher Bell, with essentially he beat the record of 6 wins, then ended the season off with 7 wins. So that is something else for Bell to do that, and of course the Xfinity Series, plenty of racing. They're going to be racing next weekend over at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, along with the Xfinity Series at Dover, and we already mentioned a little bit about Cup. We had the ARCA East Series, a combined race. Pretty good sized field overall. But at the end of the day, I think a familiar face that, well, we all sort of anticipate. Brenden Queen, victorious again, and he led all 150 laps. Brenden, he dominated the Monster Mile.
Yeah, and it's not, when you have the good equipment in the ARCA Menards series, and especially ARCA Menards East, at a place like Dover, once you take the lead, it's really hard for someone to take it away from you. That's just the nature of these cars, the nature of that track too. with the ARCA Menards series. So not surprising, but Brenden Queen on a fairy tale season as well for himself. And it all started from Daytona Beach. He's been full steam ahead since then, and it's been exciting to see how many times that they can make their way over to the Waffle House.
Waffle House. That is a place I miss since leaving the Southeast. We don't have anything of equivalent here in Oregon.
Wonder if we can DoorDash some to you. Would
Oh,
it still be keep it warm?
I don't know if they charge mileage DoorDash.
That would be a lot of
That'd be a lot.
extra charge.
That'd be a lot for that plate of this. I think it's like the All American with the waffle plate and then all the fixings on the side. Oh man, yeah, Brenden Queen. For me, I don't know about you. I'm sort of when he got that win at Daytona, I thought, hey, great job. Let's see what you do. But this was not a run I was expecting from Brenden to go out there and just win multiple races, dominate races. For you, is this a surprise, or was this something you felt like, oh, he's going to be a contender for the championship?
Coming into Daytona, I didn't think I didn't really know what to expect really from Brenden Queen. I covered him from his time in late models, of course, in the 03, and he had some good success there, but wasn't expecting him to just come out of the box in ARCA and just start from Daytona, like I said. But now it's pretty evident to me that he is a serious championship contender. And I think it is just a matter of time before he clinches the National Series championship. And like you said, Lawless Allen, he's 26 points back. He's got a pretty good buffer there, and he probably could get another win out of it too.
Yeah, potentially another win. As you mentioned, Lawless Allen, 26 points back. Overall, when it comes for Lawless Allen, we talked about him on the show, especially you and Ben. When it comes to trying to catch Brenden McQueen, do you see that where it's something where, especially with Lawless, he has a little bit of that upper hand with the upcoming tracks, or do you think this is something where Brenden is proven that, hey, I might be a rookie, but you have to go through me to try to get a win?
Yeah, we've been kind of seeing how it's those same two numbers that dominate that series, and yeah, I think you're gonna have to go through one of those two to grab the win, and I think Brenden Queen has the upper hand at least at this part of the season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to watch. And now one driver, of course, ARCA East Championship, Isaac Kitzmiller.
Yeah.
One of the big things, he is leading the championship. He's holding on to that lead. We have 3 combo races remaining. So that means we're going to have the larger car counts compared to solely ARCA East, where we've seen smaller car counts. Do you believe Isaac can hold on to that lead and claim the ARCA East championship?
He'll have to deal with Tyler Reif, but he should be fine. The ARCA East is where ARCA Menards series is, difficult to pass after a certain point in the race at most places. ARCA East is incredibly difficult to pass, especially with who has the right equipment in the top 5, and so I think he's in a good spot. But between Isaac and Tyler, that's probably what we're going to see here till the end.
And of course, with their remaining races, they have Bristol Motor Speedway September 11th, Iowa Speedway August 1st. But their next race, Lucas Oil Indianapolis Raceway Park. Of course, Indianapolis Raceway Park, that is always a popular stop for
IRP.
Yep. Old IRP.
You got to run the top on it. It's a short track, and you run the wall.
I miss the days of the Truck Series, the Xfinity Series racing there. That just seemed like the perfect way for Friday night, Saturday night, get ready for the Brickyard 400. Well, we got ARCA East running there. You mentioned you got to run the high line. Overall, with this race, do you see this race going to be something where this is going to be a duel between those two, and is qualifying going to be the main decider as who gets that preferred line on the start?
Yeah, with ARCA East, I really think it comes down to qualifying, and I've seen USF 2000 race and Silver Crown races at IRP in 2019, and both of them were pretty much just you get that start right, and you can just lead the whole thing. So at that kind of class of racing at ARCA East, it's all about qualifying and staying up front and avoiding mistakes and staying off the wall.
Staying off the wall, avoiding the mistake. A lot of times you can get in trouble. Sometimes you can get in trouble trying to get around the lap cars. They're going to be racing Friday, July 25th, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Indianapolis Raceway Park is always such a fun track. As I said, I wish the Xfinity Series will also race there just to see some of these big names, Connor Zilisch, race on that short track. Always was a lively, full crowd every time they raced there.
It needs some improvements, some more stands, but the Truck Series I think has been putting on a good show there.
Yeah, at least we have the Truck Series back, and of course they'll be racing over at Indianapolis Raceway Park, and of course that'll be under the lights, which sort of leads us to our hot topic. I encourage everyone to share your opinions with us on this hot topic because we got to talk about what's going on with the weather delays in the weekend at Dover. We know Dover, we mentioned on the wrap up show and the pre race show, down to one race a year since SMI took over. SMI has in the past said, hey, let's do something different. Let's take Charlotte Motor Speedway and bring light up the Winston All Star race. They brought lights to more tracks. They even, hey, let's bring back North Wilkesboro. Thanks to some grant funding to the state of North Carolina and other factors, they all did that. Well, now you got a track similar to New Hampshire, one race date a year. Some fans really love this place. They come here year after year. We saw a good crowd overall this weekend. But when you have the rain delays, lighting becomes an issue. It gets dark. You got to call off the race. We do know there's an Air Force base nearby that might complicate things, but do you believe it's feasible for SMI to say, hey, let's bring lights to Dover Motor Speedway, light up the monster?
You know, I'm in a good mood today, Joe. I feel like it's finally time we take lights to Dover, and let's throw in New Hampshire there too, because they're under the Speedway Motorsports banner. I have to remind myself it's not exactly SMI anymore. It's just Speedway Motorsports. But yeah, Dover. They've always been. Ben and I have talked about this several times. They constantly have that issue with the Air Force Base that's very close, and just having that light obstruction would be a problematic at certain parts of the year and all of that. But Dover is also sort of lacking on the attendance side in turns 1 and 2, particularly was catching my attention on Sunday. Now they have had to take out some stands there in turn 3, but other than that, it looks pretty full on the front straight anyway for the Cup weekend, and Xfinity looked pretty promising too. I say all that to say I think adding some wild new twist to your favorite place would not be a bad thing for a place like Dover or New Hampshire. And there's sort of I've never really been up there besides New York City, but I would feel like they're almost in the same market. I mean, New Hampshire is significantly more north, but they're kind of in that same, I would say, in that same realm of NASCAR fan in the U.S. They're in New England, so why not give them both lights? You're under the Marcus Smith's banner, so adding that would avoid those problems that you would have going into the late hours of the night, and if you're plagued by rain during the day, and also you would finally bring one of those NASCAR Thunder plates to life, because in the old video games, of course, you could put lights on Dover, and it just doesn't look like itself. It's like a whole new racetrack. So I remember the first time we had lights at Martinsville not too long ago. I guess that was 2020. Is that right? Was
Yeah, 2020.
Yeah, that was wild, and it almost felt wrong, for a while, and then now we're used to it. It's the finale has lights every year, so their round of round of 8, finale would take it into the championship 4. It has lights every year. So now we're desensitized to it. So, why not add Dover and New Hampshire to that sort of thing? And Dover's only a mile, and so is New Hampshire. So you don't have to think about a place like Talladega or Indianapolis. Don't touch Indianapolis.
Yeah.
Matthew Owens and I will both kill you. So, but I don't. I also, but see, I'm against adding lights to a place like Talladega. I'm just not there yet. But I think I've arrived at Dover and New Hampshire anyway.
I agree, especially with Dover, New Hampshire. These are mile ovals. Yes, there's the Air Force Base, but at the same time, I think Daytona, when they put in the lights, they had to work with the FAA for the lighting because there's the airport right behind on the backstretch. Now, of course, logistics, that's always going to be a factor, but I just feel like it's time to, hey, let's light up the place. I mean, you're hosting a Cup Series race, considering the factors of, okay, you might have rain. I mean, I can't imagine we had a worse weather system and then we're talking about the Cup Series race on Monday, or worst case scenario, a rain out Saturday, Sunday, and you're trying to put both races on Monday. I think for sure, if you're a track hosting the Cup Series, you got to have some sort of lighting to be ready for racing. We don't want to end up with everything on a Monday, Tuesday, worst case scenario.
Yeah, I think we had and especially on the radio side, I think we had 2 Monday Dover races in it, 2 years in a row of Monday Dover races. I think that's what happened. I know especially last year, but I think 2023 also did the same. But I can't remember if it was 24 or 23. Maybe it was 24. They had the most delayed rain affected events ever.
Yeah. And one thing I feel, if you look at Dover, I know I talked about this on the pre-race show. They have a history of their races being on TNN before 2001, FX, or the cable equivalent when it was on Fox NBC. Now they're on cable television again, TNT. Not often they get broadcasting coverage on network television. I just wonder if we had lights and we moved this 400-mile race to Saturday night, prime time, I think that could really help the track build a bigger fan following, because I feel like Dover is one of those tracks where you ask fans, hey, what are some of your favorite tracks? Charlotte, Talladega, Bristol. I don't see Dover sometimes making most fans' top 5 list. Do you think a Saturday evening race would be a big help?
I think it's got a cult following. Let's put it that way. So I think that to drag some more people into the Dover hype, you need to add lights. I think the same for New Hampshire too. I think New Hampshire has a bunch of people who will tell you that is their favorite track, but it's because their proximity to New Hampshire really sways their opinion, or their proximity to Loudon. And the same goes for Dover. I think Dover and New Hampshire, I don't know why I keep pairing them together, but there's something about those two tracks, and Pocono too, I guess. It's when they're right, they're really good. They've got their really good moments nowadays where they really do shine. But then you get the lulls but those are little gems in hour and maybe an hour of just, oh, okay, follow the freight train. This is where we're at. I think Steve Letarte said on yesterday's broadcast before the rain delay, or he's like, well, for a while there it was a typical Dover race. What does he mean by typical Dover race? Boring? Is that the nice way of saying the norm at Dover is boring? I don't know, but it certainly felt like that. Once the leader gets going, it's more or less just stay behind his tire tracks. Hope you can catch him on a green flag pit stop. It's basically going through the motions. Don't slip up. The track is definitely dangerous. Not dangerous, but it's difficult to handle. It's still Miles is still a monster. Coming out of the exit of 2 and 4, those you saw Christopher Bell slip up twice. It shows you how tough that concrete surface is, and it'll wash you out too. If you're out spinning on the front straight or the back straight, it's self-cleaning. It'll put you in on the inside and take you out. So it's still definitely a tough track for a driver, but it's these kind of places as a race fan where we have a lot of moments where if the casual, I guess, even the more passionate race fan doesn't know what's going on inside the cockpit, they they take it as, oh, nothing's happening, it's boredom. But really, I mean, I think to me, I think the drivers are still wrestling with everything they've got, but just on the outside, it looks like it's not too much. But I think lights would definitely bring people back for maybe a 4 or 5 year, 6 year span, and maybe then you can show them, hey, this is what Dover's all about.
And that's the thing. I feel Dover, I mean, it earned a nickname, the Monster Mile, long ago when it was still Dover Downs Speedway. And old pavement, can't believe it used to be pavement before we switched to concrete. But the highlights of cars crashing and spinning down the backstretch, which is very banked, to even, I think one clip we've seen year after year, Joey Logano flipping over in turn 3 and 4.
Yeah, that was nasty.
Big
and then Jimmy Johnson saving it on a qualifying lap on the front straight and not touching a thing. And also with yesterday's win, it was also Hamlin the first one to go back to back since Jimmy Johnson in 2013 and 14. That was a cool stat too.
Yeah, so it's a tough track to handle, and even just a simple mistake like we've seen this. I recall a few years ago on a restart, I think it was Jimmy Johnson that missed a gear shifting, or Martin Truex, and we had that big pile up on the restart in the front stretch. And then I can remember that almost was a repeat in 1993 when Hut Strickland got pushed by Dale Earnhardt and took out Rusty Wallace and a bunch of others on a restart at the Dover Down Speedway on a restart. So it's a tough track, and I feel the history behind it. I mean, Richard Petty has raced here. It's always been a challenging track. The track product, especially as people focus more and more on the entertainment value, not exactly there, but I think if we throw it under the lights, now you have a cooler track, a little bit more grip.
Temperatures, that's the big thing there too, Joe. The temps would be a lot different. Yep.
A lot more different. The cooler temperatures, potentially more grip. Maybe bring in a softer tire for some more tire wear. I think you got a stellar potential there at Dover Motor Speedway, and I could just see how impressive would that be under the lights if you could see Miles the Monster and his red eyes glowing. I mean,
you sold me now. I mean, I was already ready, but now you got Miles the Monster with red eyes. Let's go.
Let's go. I mean, that would be fun, and I think that'll get a lot of people excited. New Hampshire, especially if they got a playoff race, I feel like they should have lights. We don't want a playoff race to wait till Monday morning if weather shows up. So
I really think New Hampshire needs a mascot by now with Speedway Motorsports in control. We need to figure out, do they have a mascot yet? Someone in the comments, help us out here. John, does New Hampshire have a mascot for Loudon?
I know SMI has Lugnut.
Right, they got Lugnut for Charlotte and basically everything, I guess. But
I almost think of the Lobster. I mean, he is the trophy. Might as well get somebody.
Right. Yeah, the lobster. Yeah.
What's the Lobster's name? I don't remember. It's not like Louis or something. Or
it's not Larry, is it?
Loudon. That was it.
Loudon the Lobster. Okay.
Loudon the Lobster. I just remember Dale Jr. Steve Letarte going over that. And I think it was Dale Jr. just adamantly like, his name is not Loudon. And I think he said he thought the name was Larry. So, so yeah, that's New Hampshire. That'll be a fun track to light up. Now, we've been having a lot of fun, but unfortunately there was some news that took a lot of us by surprise, especially all those that follow the Xfinity Series often. Our Motorsports has shut down just one race following Chris Wright's release. This was a shock to a lot of folks, Brenden. What does this say about that team just shutting down so suddenly?
It's really unfortunate. I did not see that coming at all, but apparently there was some more problems under the surface that we didn't realize. But we were kind of pointing to how it looked a lot like last year with Hailie Deegan's untimely exit around the Chicago Street Course, and putting in Joey Logano there at Chicago, and then that team continuing on with the driver change mid-season. We thought possibly this might just be the typical midseason driver switch, but apparently there was something financial going on under the surface, and so yeah, our motorsports is it's not theirs anymore. It's not ours either. They're not there. So that's unfortunate. And Xfinity Series racing, it's the second tier of the national series of stock car auto racing. I mean, it's expensive. So I mean, it's still very expensive to run, insanely expensive to run an Xfinity Series team, and you know that we've got recently gone through cost cutting measures on the Cup side. Xfinity side, they're still basically operating under the same type of expenses, but I'm sure they've done some cost cutting there too. But some of these smaller teams in the ecosystem of the Xfinity Series, they struggle probably at the same level as we would think a Craftsman Truck Series team is going from week to week.
Yeah, we know when it comes to the economy, there's a lot of things are unprecedented going on. Business climate is changing. For our motorsports to just completely shut down, it's a very somber reminder, especially when you have series where you're private teams, you don't have something like a charter, and well, trust me, the charter ain't perfect, but just it's closed up, and now all the equipment is pennies on the dollar. Really tough break, and sort of alludes to this next question I have: the state of economics for the Xfinity Series, especially the challenges they have. Like for example, cross country for Portland did come back. They, they had to. They also went to Mexico City, international travel. That's not cheap either. Do you think the state of economics for Xfinity might be something NASCAR needs to consider when it comes to future decisions for 2026 and beyond?
Well, I'm sure they're going to be taking a look at that, and losing one of the teams is never a positive thing. So I'm sure there's going to be some sort of reevaluation going into 26 and beyond of what they can do to better set their teams up for success. And I don't really know what that means on the economic level, but uh, it's not a good sign whenever you lose someone like that. So I'm sure there's some sort of plan in place of how they can alleviate this for the smaller side, and maybe I don't know, maybe move some. I don't want to talk socialistically, but maybe move some of that money away from the bigger teams. But I don't know if that's part of the plan though.
It'll be interesting to see what is part of their plan by NASCAR. Because yeah, the Xfinity Series, especially I felt during the heyday of the late '90s when it was in the Busch Grand National Series, and you saw teams with still major sponsors such as Kleenex, Slim Jim, single car teams running. Yeah, you had occasionally Mark Martin, the Win Dixie car, and the number 60 come in, dominate the race. Then we got into the era of the bushwhackers that really got to the point where then NASCAR, okay, we're changing the rules. I feel like this is almost like that next evolution of the Xfinity Series. What do we do to keep the team costs low? Because even Portland went from a race where there was no competition pit stops to last year they allowed pit stops to Encore. It's really, I think, something where they got to focus on the cost for these teams, because if you don't have the teams and you have smaller field count, that's not going to be beneficial for anybody.
Yeah, and that's not really fair. Adding competition stops at a place like Portland, like you said, the travel and the expense to get out there. It pushes teams like our motorsports even further uh, behind the eight ball, where they would be if they just didn't have if that was a part they didn't have to worry about.
Indeed, it's something where I get it. NASCAR wants to bring the what fans consider part of the show, including live pit stops. I think nobody's going to forget. I believe it was Jesse Love's pit crew that just jumped on the hood at Portland last year to try to get that dented hood fixed up. But same time, it's just like, well, compared to the prior 2 years where we didn't have that, he just made the bill to get to Portland, Oregon a lot more expensive, and one of the few standalone races that we see. I still remember back in the day where we had a lot more standalone races, the South Bostons, Myrtle Beach. Would like to see those, but particularly in the Southeast, not clear across the country too. With that said, got to bring up this news that came up this morning. First saw it from Jeff Gluck this morning. The interesting rule book change for the NASCAR Cup Series when it comes to car limits and the number of entries. The new rule where for open cars, when it comes to open cars in owner points, the ones that have the most points will get priority in filling out those spots. So essentially, the big idea is NASCAR at its sole discretion may like to limit the number of entries for a race to 40. In such instance, open teams will be determined based on the team owner's point standings. I don't know about you. This sort of caught me by surprise because if you heard some of our shows how NASCAR wants to really make the point, don't challenge us, 2311, front row motorsport. I almost feel like this seems like a little bit like an olive branch, like, hey, don't worry, you'll be in the show. Do you see that same train of thought I have?
Could you kind of restate it in a different way?
Do you feel
Trying
there's
to understand, yeah.
no problem like this rule change by NASCAR to essentially allow owners' points to dictate the open teams that will be in the race? Almost seems like a provisional, to be honest, where it almost seems like it protects 2311 and front row motorsport from worrying about being bumped into the field. Do you feel like this is NASCAR essentially saying, hey, we're giving you guys a helping hand, essentially, like an olive branch?
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I've kind of been out of the loop today, so this is kind of taking me for a surprise here. That a new policy where they can limit the number of entries to 40. Another new rule where the top open cars and owner points would get those spots. Very interesting. Yeah, that's from Jeff Gluck. Thank you for that link there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting development because I feel like, okay, the part of the charter is, you make this agreement with 36 teams and they are protected. Now you almost have a scenario it's like, oh, well, you may not have a charter. You may be pretty well in the standings, like 2311, for example. And in case we have a race where there's 43 cars trying to get into the field, NASCAR could say, hey, we're going to make it just 40 and it's based by points. So your charterless team is protected. I just don't get this. I don't know if it's something where NASCAR is just saying we want to be nice and maybe you'll reconsider this lawsuit because you got a lot more to lose, or as Denny Hamlin has threatened, December 1st, everybody will know everything. And maybe this is NASCAR saying we're doing this. Can you just move on and sign the charter agreement and be happy?
Some are saying, "Isn't that convenient?" And then the top liked comment here is, "Wouldn't this further prove that NASCAR itself is a monopoly, changing rules for entrants, whether good or bad, for 2311?" That's a quote there.
Yeah, it's a very interesting development. I'm sort of just baffled by it just because it's like, okay, you're really doing this to essentially help two teams that are suing you. No charter, really, there's nothing NASCAR needs to do. But I almost feel like the fact that they're trying to do something to help them out makes me think they just add complexity to their court case, their discussions, their litigations that NASCAR doesn't want some stuff to release, and maybe they could make some sort of settlement outside the court, or maybe they open 2311 front row gets their act together and say, hey, we'll drop our case.
Yeah, I'm honestly ready for the whole thing to be over. It's pulling away from the racing, and also it's not good for either party really. And it's funny to see Denny Hamlin be so successful still, and be on the Xfinity Series broadcast and still under all of this uh, behind the scenes turmoil with NASCAR and his team 2311.
It is something else. I cannot wait for this to be over too, as well. Personally, I mean, I get it. We're motorsports news journalism. You anticipate silly season. You anticipate the kind of news when it comes to developments, but something like this is not something ideal. So we'll be following the course and grid tonight. We'll follow more. With that said, let's go into our one shiny moment. Brenden, what is your one shiny moment?
Yeah, Joe, I wanted to pay tribute for this one shiny moment to one of NASCAR's pioneers, the 1960 NASCAR Cup Series champion Rex White. We lost him on. It was confirmed on Friday. We lost Rex White at the age of 95. NASCAR in the NASCAR Hall of Fame, obviously, and the 1960 champion. So one of those founding fathers of the sport, and just a long life as well. So just wanted to honor him with this place on the one shining moment.
Wonderful shining moment. Of course, the passing of Rex White was mentioned on the Cup Series broadcast as well. We're thinking of him and his family through this time of grieving. My shining moment is going to come from essentially, I think, has to be ARCA Menards series, the combo race, Brenden Queen getting the job done in dominating fashion. To dominate the Monster Mile, that is an accomplishment very few could say they have done. With that said, a friendly reminder to everyone, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and comment. We'll be on the air Wednesday. Grid tonight. Kobe, Josh, Matt with the Grid Endurance Performance Index will be on the air. Then we'll have Grid Live pre-race and wrap up throughout the weekend, plus some special programming coming up. Any final thoughts, Brenden, before we go off the air?
Nothing left. I just want to thank you for being a part of the show this week, and we'll head to the greatest race course in the world, the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, for another weekend of NASCAR racing, and then also Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps for the Belgian Grand Prix on the other side of the world as well.
Belgian Grand Prix sprint race is going to be a lot of fun. Spa, Belgium, IndyCar as well too, and NASCAR. Going to be a fun weekend. Want to thank everyone for tuning in, and especially our Patreon investors, Colin, Michelle, Mark, Robin, David, and Matthew, keeping us on the air. If you want to invest in us through Patreon, link in the video description. Go to the Patreon website, and they'll take care of all your information from there. For Brenden, I'm Joe. Thank you for watching Grid Encore. We'll see you next time, and have a wonderful evening.